Aloha everyone, Michelle Melendez, Blossom Inner Wellness and Stand Together Hawaii, and I want to do a video on the governor spoke with the United Nations, and he absolutely lied through his teeth. He is an absolute liar, and in my standing for my speaking through my First Amendment right of free speech, I am saying he is a treasonous traitor to this country, and he should be peaceably removed from office. As well as the Maui mayor and the police chief, because murderers and liars. And let me share what he said, and I'll explain exactly why I'm saying this. Yeah.
State has recently endured a catastrophic disaster. It's been horrifying to see what you and your people have gone through. We would like to hear from you on how subnational governments can proactively prepare for and fortify themselves against such challenges. Could you share with us what tools you have in Hawaii that are helping you do that?
So she's asking him to share tools. She's asking him to share the tools that have supported and helped us to get through this fire. He doesn't even answer the question through the whole entire spiel. He doesn't answer her question at the United Nations. And yeah, I'm going to be stopping going back and forth because I want to show you some videos at each time he states something that's not true. I'm going to show you a video and a scientist and absolute proof that he's lying through his teeth,
which put you on the path to resilience and also achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, please.
And also achieving this
sustainable
goals, sustainable achievable goals, because we're going to talk about that as well, because everybody needs to know that is on board, is online with Agenda 21 to take away all of our freedoms. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work, people.
Friends and colleagues, first let me say I was so pleased and honored to have our students from Hawaii welcome us today. Thank you, students and mentors. As you know, I'm a physician and a father and a husband. That's the lens I see these crises through. Since the last time I was with you just 2 months ago, Madam Chair, Hawaii did suffer the trauma of a lifetime. A devastating wildfire claimed the lives of 97, at least, of our loved ones, displaced 12,000 of our people, destroyed centuries of history, development. It devastated the economy of that region, causing $6 billion in damage. And the fires.
I want to again stop because he says it killed 97 people and displaced 12,000. What about all the missing people? There's thousands of people, at least I don't know the number, but I believe it goes into the thousands who are missing. Did he mention them? No. And it went from 115 to 97. Something about a DNA or something or other from the Maui News. Really? 97 people only? No, I don't think so. I think that is his first lie. Let's see. Let's find out more. What's the second lie?
They came to us in the form of a fire hurricane. Winds were 74 miles per hour on the tail end of a hurricane and swept through our town of Lahaina in 17 minutes. The speed.
So fire hurricanes don't exist. Remember, if you ever watch Peggy Hall, she talks about a fire. There's no such thing as a fire hurricane. And also 17 minutes. So you're here to tell me that only 97 people died when there was 17-minute fire that spread through Lahaina with no emergency evacuation? I think that's the second lie.
The heat, it destroyed our local communication systems, our water system, and all of our above ground power infrastructure. And so I can tell you as an elected leader, I don't want to ever see this happen to us again or to any of you. So I'm here to give you a report from the front lines on the climate crisis and an urgent warning. We no longer anticipate the destructive events of climate change. We are now fully enduring them as a people and a world. Global temperatures have increased. 2023 is the hottest year in human history. Droughts across the world.
Okay, I just have to stop. That is not true. Where is that evidence? Let me show you something. Let me show you this guy. Let me show you this.
My guest today is David Dilley.
Thank you, Tom, for having me on again. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a former meteorologist, NOAA, National Weather Service, United States Air Force. Currently, senior researcher meteorologist, climatologist at Global Weather Oscillations Incorporated. 50 years of experience in meteorology and climatology. So I'm going to be able to show you a few things. And working partner with the International Hurricane Protection Association.
So I want to skip forward to what is global warming?
Right, let's just touch on it quickly. Global warming begins in the Arctic and Antarctic. About a 230-year cycle, global warming comes back again. When it comes back, it takes about 20 years for it to hit its peak. It started in the 1990s, hit its peak this past year. So global warming, what happens is the Antarctic and Arctic warm up. And as it warms up, you have less cold air available to filter southward into the mid-latitudes, and it warms the mid-latitudes. That is global warming. Well, global cooling also begins at the two poles. In 2022, the Arctic had the coldest spring and summer on record. Boy, can you have that during global warming? Coldest spring and summer on record. And I just checked what's going on up there now. And in April, they're again running below normal temperatures this year. So they'll probably have a cold spring, summer again. So the Arctic is cooling down.
So he just said that we had the hottest summer on record. This isn't true. Like, show us, Governor Green. Show us a diagram or a chart that shows us that.
In 2021, the Antarctic had its coldest winter on record. Global warming, I'm telling you. So what happens? Okay, so we have cold air available, and that starts to filter southward, and eventually you have global cooling. It doesn't come on overnight. We get bits and pieces of it, like we did this winter, especially out on the West Coast. But it's like global warming. It takes about 15, 20 years for it to really get entrenched and hit its peak. So it's coming, and it's going to get worse and worse. Okay, so now I want to share with you this other chart that he talks about carbon dioxide. But isn't it interesting that Governor Green's not longer talking about carbon dioxide, because, oh my God, he's realizing people aren't stupid and realizing that carbon dioxide gives oxygen to the plants, or is what our plants breathe, so that they can release oxygen so we can breathe. So, oh my gosh, the whole where's the carbon dioxide narrative now, Governor Green? Let's watch this part. This is a little bit of science for you. Trust the science, right, everybody? It is proven science. You can Google it, whatever you want. Milankovitch cycles of the Earth-Moon-Sun interactions, electromagnetic cycles. Essentially, this is what it is. The Earth goes around the sun in a elliptical path. Every 120,000 years, the Earth becomes closest to the sun. And then about 68,000 years later, it's the furthest approach from the sun, greater distance. So the bottom half of this is all ice age, very cold due to less sunshine, and also the tilt in our axis. Our closest approach was 8,000 years ago. We were warmer 6,000 to 8,000 years ago than we were today. The reason was we were the closest approach to the sun and came out of an ice age. We're 8,000 years off the peak now. We're actually cooling down. So we're actually cooling down. So I'm gonna do a quick screenshot. So sorry, it's all fuzzy. Anyway, standtogetherhawaii.com. I have an action plan. Contact the governor and ask him for scientific proof that the world is warming, and tell him you can send. I'll if you go to Stand Together Hawaii, I'm going to create a link called Take Action, and with his information and a little blurb that you can just send him that gives him. I'm going to write down 5 scientists, geologists, meteorologists, climatologists. This guy's a 50-year climatologist and meteorologist saying that the world is cooling.
So let's ask Governor Green for the proof. Show us scientific proof that we had the hottest summer on record. Show us scientific proof that the world is warming up. That's what we want to see. So let's send that to him. Let's send that to him and see what he has to say about that. So let's continue with what he has to say to the UN and watch more of his lies he's spilling out, because man, there are more to come.
World have become frequent and severe and prolonged. We've seen wildfires not only in Hawaii, of course, but in Algeria and Greece, in the United States and Canada, causing air pollution from the smoke. And this summer, smoke from 900 wildfires burning through Canada triggered air quality alerts all across the eastern United States. 70 million people were affected, including my mother. Meanwhile, our western states are grappling with the worst mega drought in 1,200 years.
Okay, I think that's a lie. I mean, 1,200 years. I want to see a graph about that. Show us a graph about that one. And yeah, we want to, let's see it. Prove it to us.
And for those out there who still doubt that climate change is impacting the world, note this.
Note this, that geologist, climatologist, meteorologist, the founder of the Weather Channel, the founder of Greenpeace, who is an amazing man, and I actually should show you something about him as well. All of these people whose profession it is to study the earth are saying this is not true. So here's what this man has to say.
In the first half century, from 1953 to 2003, Hawaii experienced a total of 6 fire disasters. This August, we experienced 6 fire disasters.
Okay, so these 6 fire disasters and these other 6 fire disasters are supposed to show us that the world is warming up? Is that the scientific proof you're talking about? And it's really funny because that's the third 6 he just used, 666, friends. So anyway, let's just keep going.
Ocean temperatures rise, they melt our ice caps. The marine heat waves threaten more than half of our world's marine species, which will stand on the brink of extinction. So let me say this very clearly.
To you, Governor Green. Show us what species are dying and going to be going extinct, because I saw another scientist say that the polar bears are actually increasing in number, and there are actually more polar bears than there ever were. Are they dying because their habitat, all of the ice ages, ice glaciers are melting off? No, they're actually thriving. So if you're telling us that species are dying, which ones and where are they? That's what I want to know. Show it to us. Prove it.
Really, there's no town or city or human community on Earth that is safe from this extreme weather that's fueled by climate change, which is why we must.
Okay, so that feels like a threat. It's like Peggy Hall said this. I love her for saying this. She's like, okay, he just said there is no city or human community. I don't know why that's weird, but that is safe from this threat. Let me show you this threat, everybody. And let's see here, because I think I may have not. There it is. Okay, hold on. I need to get it over here so I can get it to the right place and you guys can see the threat everybody's under, because there is a threat. There is a threat, but I think it's the wrong one he's talking about. And Zoom, screen share, Google. Here we go.
Will not regenerate. And this is a ficus.
Hold on a second. I want to show you who this guy is. This is a guy interviewed. This has over 400,000 views and it's on my channel. It is the Arborist, 48-year Arborist, questions Maui fires. Okay, and let's see here. A14. Okay, so I got to scroll back a little bit so we can get his full, who is this guy? Who is this miracle man?
Together, have been a botanist for 48 years. He's been studying plants and trees, and I'm going to actually let him give you his background. But we're going to be talking about. He's also been studying. How many locations have you gone to, or pictures have you studied over the past? 7 years? You gave a number when I saw your interview last.
I've been to 38 fire aftermaths, mostly in California, a few in Southern Oregon, and taken 107 trips to all of them. So I've done a lot of footwork, collecting evidence at every site except perhaps 3 that I deemed were normal forest fires that we know of. All the rest were something else.
Wow. So yeah, something else. So Robert, just share a little bit more about your background, and we'll just start from there.
Well, I started learning plants in the late 60s from my mom. And when I turned 15, I had horticulture classes and forestry classes in high school. And I've never stopped learning about the plant kingdom. 48 years now of learning trees, shrubs, vines, wildflowers, and ferns, mostly California natives, but many imported around the world to our residential homes. And I think before I left high school, I knew every tree in California, which isn't all that hard. And then became an arborist for 20 years and let that lapse because I was going beyond some of the areas they wanted to talk about, and reclassified myself with my own term, forensic arborist, because that's what I feel I am now. I've been to 38 aftermaths, like I said, and 107 trips to all these in the last 7 years. And somewhere along the line, I was designing a hike.
So this is who this guy is. Now I'm going to go forward and let you watch this one thing. And then I ask him a question, and I finally understand why this fire doesn't burn trees. And you'll hear it.
Top fire people know exactly what's going on. What trees actually grow in California, which ones burn and which ones don't. Sadly, a year and a half ago, we lost John. He died of different types of problems. But they gave me a good start and introduced me to a lot of folks that know what's going on in these fire scenarios. So
what do you think is going on in these fire scenarios, when firefighters or captains are questioning things just the same as you are?
Yeah, when they get out and question them, not many of them, I think, will speak up.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of retribution somehow, either getting fired or something worse. Many of the top fire people know exactly what's going on. When you don't see the forest burn, but yet houses are, and some of these materials don't burn, you have to ask your question, what is going on here? And many of the fire captains and other workers have said, we've never seen fires like this, or the fires were so hot we couldn't even get close to them to put them out. And they were also very hard to put out. And so over the years, I've come to different conclusions. I believe most of these fires are microwave based. They're not normal wood fires that we know of. And I'll get into that later here.
Okay, thank you.
Many materials will not burn. And I have a saying I made up. All the materials that didn't burn should have. And all the materials that did burn shouldn't have.
That's true.
And I want to start off. This is in Maui now. I've taken some of the pictures off the internet here. So none of these Maui pictures are mine. And I'm going to expand on every one of these pictures. And this is the same stuff exactly that I've seen in California. No different, all the same fire footprints, things that don't make sense. Here, a home's on fire and nothing else. And I believe that's because of all the metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, that are in a house. These things get hit, they burn, and it's rare to see a tree burn or any plant unless it's in very close proximity to the house. And I mean 10 or 15 feet. So this is common now. Here you have, it looks like a grove of eucalyptus trees. I'm not positive on the species. The whole left, they didn't burn. Meanwhile, the house is just gone. The cars, they all look like this. They'll be dented up. The windows will be melted out. Now, the auto glass melts approximately at 2,500 degrees.
Wow.
Forest fires don't get that hot.
It's like
full-fledged forest fire goes up to 1,400.
Yeah, I was just going to say 1,400. Wow, and also the wheels are melted.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Unless you're adding different accelerants or really burning some hot wood, you're not getting above those temperatures. Perhaps here and there you would, but it would not melt these windows. You notice the doorknobs are always gone. The rims, they're an alloy or an aluminum. They melt out at 1,221 degrees. That doesn't happen. Your fires on the ground that are in the grass, if they're a couple inches off the ground, they're only 300 degrees. The two fire captains educated me on that. They never see rims melted out in a combined 60 years of service. Sometimes
he's talking about 2 fire captains with both 30 years experience each that he talked to. They actually had a video and he contacted them and they all became friends and started really researching this stuff. And that's what he says, a combination of 60-year experience. It's 2 fire captains of 30 years each seeing what he's seeing.
He'd get to a car late in the day because they were busy and the car fire was already out. The rims still didn't melt out. Yet, I've seen a good between 600 and 800 vehicles. If the rims are aluminum or alloys, they're always melted out, either in chunks like this one or in flowing aluminum puddles that flow away like a river away from the vehicle. Windows and rims always gone unless they're metal rims. Let's see. So look at your organic matter. What kind of forest fire forgot all the trees?
And you said something about the eucalyptus before we started.
Yeah, eucalyptus is one of the most flammable or combustible leaves I know of. Here in the States, California, we have many species. And the blue gum is the one I see the most. I can pull the leaves off the tree, green, take a cigarette lighter and light them on fire. Every time. And they burn pretty quick. If you put them in a small campfire, you better back up. These things, the oils in them are very flammable.
So I want to go forward one more time, one more thing with what he has to say, because this is where I finally understand why the trees don't burn. Why the trees don't burn. This is why.
They're not igniting.
Oh my gosh. So I'm curious about that because you said microwave waves to create fire creates such a hot fire. That's so interesting of why they wouldn't burn, but that's a whole different topic. Go ahead and keep going.
All I can say is they don't recognize the organics, even though they're super hot. They seem to be much hotter than our regular wood fires, but for whatever reason, they're not recognizing organics. They turn everything brown. They suck the water out of it like it's in a microwave oven in your kitchen, leave them brown or a light shade of green, but it will not ignite them unless they're in close proximity to metals. Or
you're talking about the fire. The fire doesn't recognize.
That's right.
The eucalyptus organism. Oh my gosh, the organics of that organism. Yeah. Wow.
It has to be in close proximity to your metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, like aluminum, or creeks and water. And I heard along the shore here, the water was on fire, and they made up a lame excuse that there's oil and diesel and all that. No, the water itself was on fire, and I haven't seen pictures of it, but I've already heard that.
So I want to go back to Governor Green because I want to have him finish lying through his teeth to the United Nations in order for, why is he doing this? Because of sustainable planning and development, everybody.
Must deliver on these sustainable development goals, and you are champions to this end. Let me say this. The devastation on Maui has taught us that we have to urgently commit ourselves to a higher standard reflected in our Aloha Plus Challenge and the United States SDGs. So we can take action. We can move power lines underground. We can build fire mitigation to protect our energy grids. But we have to back down on climate change. We have to use technology and human solutions as were described before me. And just let me say this. Ben Franklin said, we must all hang together or we will hang separately. That is true of climate change. We're in this battle together. We fight for the future of humanity. We struggle to preserve our life here as we know it. And I can say this, I will do my part to bring American local governments along on this journey because of your leadership. We have faith because you have faith. Aloha and mahalo.
So we have faith because you have faith. That doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, sustainable. Let's talk about sustainable planning and development. Now, Rosa, Koire, you guys probably many of you have commented about her, but I just love this is anyway. Let me just press play.
Quickly about myself, I am a commercial real estate appraiser. My specialty is eminent domain valuation, and for 30 years, I've been playing like Jimi Hendrix. I hope that doesn't happen again, but for 30 years, I've worked for the California Department of Transportation. I'm a district branch chief, and I've just retired. I'm a litigation support person and expert witness in land use and property valuation. And those years of analysis and litigation support prepared me for recognizing the planning revolution that was sweeping the nation, that began that I first noticed back in 2002. And in researching that, as well as in fighting a huge fraudulent redevelopment project in my city, where I was actually elected to the project area committee, and from sitting on that committee and doing research, I found that the whole project was fraudulent, and it's a long deal. But through researching that, I found the issues behind it, and they led to United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. Like one of your members said in his testimony in regards to House Bill 1634, I was a skeptic, and as well you should be. But in doing the research, I found that this really wasn't something that was a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact. And this information is fully documented. Everything that I'm going to be talking about today is a fact. And if I'm speculating or I'm giving my opinion on something, I'll tell you. Otherwise, everything I'm talking about is fully documented. So I know that as Americans, you're going to find yourselves deeply at odds with and completely concerned by the agenda for the 21st century. And that is what it's called by the United Nations and the world. It's not Catch 22. It's not Area 51. It's Agenda 21 because it is the agenda for the 21st century. That is what it's called by the United Nations. It's the blueprint. It is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all information, all energy, all means of production, and all human beings in the world. It is a totally comprehensive plan.
So that is what sustainable living and development is about. And when, Governor Green, he passed an emergency proclamation 3 weeks before the fire. He suspended 7 housing laws, just suspended them. No legislative body approved this. And for how long? The emergency proclamation is supposed to be 60 days. We all know that last 2 years, Hawaii was one of the worst for their emergency proclamation, which was absolutely against the Constitution. And I did not follow it at all. And that's a whole different story. But this governor has already put a group together to talk about the housing in Maui. These are not elected officials. So sustainable planning and development is something that each one of us should be contacting our city council members and saying, no, do not do this because this is a violation of our freedoms. It'll take our property. It will. It doesn't give us the right to give our voice. And in fact, the governor doesn't care about that. Our Hawaii governor walks out of meetings before public testimony, before we can hear the people. And for the longest time, we know that this legislative body does not honor the people. And if you don't honor the people, then you need to remove yourself from office. And I'm not done yet. I want to show one more thing, which is the, let's see here, Google share, which is the poisoning the water. This is very interesting. Very interesting.
Attention right away. I believe it should be front page news. Take a look.
Now an update this morning on the water in upcountry Maui. The first time toluene was detected in water samples taken from the Upper Kula treatment plant. The lab reports are from August 14th and 16th and detected trace amounts well below the federal and state maximum contaminant level of 1,000 parts per billion. So the Department of Health and Maui Department of Water Supply say the water system is still in compliance for drinking water. Toluene is a chemical found in industrial feedstock and can be found in paint thinner, permanent markers, and certain types of glue. Despite the trace amounts of toluene being within drinking water standards, the unsafe water advisory remains in effect for Kula as well as Lahaina. So if you're in those areas, don't use the water from the tap. Instead, use bottled water to drink, brush your teeth, make ice, and prepare your food. The county is continuing to test the water.
Did you catch that? Toluene. I apologize if I butchered that, but toluene is in the water. What they failed to tell you is that toluene is commonly referred to as TNT. Yes, the same TNT that you find in dynamite or explosives. Let's read what Wikipedia says about this chemical. TNT is occasionally used as a reagent in chemical synthesis, but it is best known as an explosive material with convenient handling properties. The explosive yield of TNT is considered to be the standard comparative convention of bombs and asteroid impacts. In chemistry, TNT is used to generate charge transfer salts. Now, why in the world would TNT be found in the public water supply in Maui?
Isn't that a good question? Isn't that a really, really good question? You know, the day before Maui, August 8th, on August 7th, somebody had a video on TikTok and said, what is this white substance in the air in Maui? And I'm sorry, I don't have that up for you. The other thing I want to share is a lot of people go, oh, Michelle, direct energy weapons aren't real. This is from Congress.gov, Direct Energy Weapons Systems Acquisition Act of 2016. I'm just going to read this part to you. Direct energy weapon systems means military action using highly focused sound, electromagnetic, or particle beam energy to incapacitate, damage, or destroy enemy equipment, facilities, or personnel. So that, and what else? There's this one other thing that I wanted to show you. Where is it's Morpheus. It's the Morpheus, the drone. Morpheus drone. So people go, oh, they were lasers from space. What if they're not? What if they weren't from space? What if they had these easy little drones? And I'm not saying this is what happened because I don't know what happened, but Morpheus is reusable, multi-engagement, loitering tube launched interceptor equipped with an onboard seeker and a compact high-power microwave effector to execute non-kinetic defeat of drones, including complex swarms. So they say, yeah, this is going to keep us safe because it'll knock down drones. It'll make them unable. But this little guy can, like it said, has a high-power microwave effector. So what did our 48-year arborist say? What did our 48-year arborist say? He said it was microwave energy that creates those microwave fire. And that's why the fire doesn't kill the trees or burn the trees, because it doesn't actually recognize the chemistry of the trees. So I'm going to leave all these links in the description. We have action steps to take. And that action is to contact the governor and ask him to show us proof that this summer was the hottest ever, to show us proof that this fire was man-made when the organic material isn't burning. So we have some questions for our governor. And if you don't live in Hawaii, you can still send questions to the governor here in Hawaii, because this is a tourist state, Hawaii nation. And you can send your questions in. You don't have to be here. The other thing we're also doing is we're going to be making a complaint to the police commissioner against the Maui police chief for closing people in on and not allowing them to escape the fire. And I'm going to do a video right now on that one as well. So let's do a quick prayer, because that's the divine frequency, divine energy is what we have left of this, you guys. I don't know if I believe in the white hats. Everybody's like, oh, the white hats are going to save us. We're the white hats, you guys. Where the heck are these people? I hope they're there. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're there, but I don't know. So let's just go ahead and close our eyes and just infinite source of all things, intelligence, Christ, Jesus Christ, consciousness of love, of forgiveness, of compassion. We know you're running the show. We know this is a game. We know that there is a higher purpose for all this, and I believe that higher purpose is to have the truth be told and unfolded in front of people's faces, and also for people to wake up and realize that going on throughout their day and not acknowledging how other people are being threatened and how other people matter. All people on the planet matter. All children matter. And we just give so much gratitude to you, great source, great spirit, because we know that the evilness of this planet and the evilness that is in office right now is dissolving and just being gone away from this beautiful Aina, this beautiful land, this beautiful planet that we live on. We know that is happening. And we are so grateful for the courage to do our kuleana, what is ours to do, what does our intuition tell us to do. We are so grateful for the courage to do it, to step forward, to step up, to speak our truth, to speak out and speak loud, to say no more of this. No more towns and cities are going to be threatened with microwave energy fires that destroy everything but the trees. That's not okay. We say no, we do not comply. And we are so grateful for the strength, the inner strength and the inner knowing that you always give us every step of the day, guiding our hearts, guiding our mouths and our words, guiding our actions. And we do this all with peace, in aloha, and in love. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to do one more video, and much aloha, everyone. Please share, subscribe, like, so the algorithms don't kick me out of here. All right, love you.